break into his car, rather.
Yes, we're aware of that. However, an arrest does not necessarily correlate with a filed police report.
Well, he didn't file a police report, so why would you investigate it or make an arrest?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Repeat the question.
We know Ryan did not file a police report, so why would they investigate the car break-in?
You can answer it. Overruled issue.
Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
We know Ryan did not file a police report, so why would you investigate his car break-in?
I investigated his car break-in because I was interested in finding the murder weapon in this case. It seemed relevant.
Okay, but you never made an arrest, so you know what?
Objection, Your Honor, creation of material fact. This question calls for creation of material fact in this case.
Outside the record of this case, outside the record.
Yes, it is.
Okay, sustained.
All right, that's all.
Detective, may the prosecution have a redirect? I mean, excuse me, Your Honor, may the prosecution have a
I
redirect?
understood, yeah.
Excuse me. Detective, where do you believe the fibers transferred to Miss Bouchel's, or excuse me, Miss Abel's sweater came from?
I would guess that they came from the attacker.
Wait. Counsel, detective, you have to answer based on your opinion or your observations. You can't guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can answer questions without guessing.
May I re-ask the question?
Yeah, re-ask the question.
Detective, where do you believe the fibers came from that were on Miss Abel's sweater?
I believe that these fibers came from the attacker.
Why were you unable to find a murder weapon in this case?
I was unable to find a murder weapon as Ryan Bouchel claimed that it had been stolen. However, Ryan never filed a police report.
Why did you arrest Ryan in this case?
I arrested Ryan Bouchel because I had probable cause to believe Ryan is the only suspect in this case, and as such, I arrested Ryan.
Did you further investigate all other 27 arrests made that night at the festival?
Yes, my department investigated all 27 of the arrests, and none of them were found to have any connection to the murder of Becca Abels.
Your Honor, no further questions. May the witness please be excused.
Yes, you're excused. Any further prosecution witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, but at this time, we'd like to respectfully request a time check.
The prosecution has 6 minutes and 54 seconds remaining.
Thank you. Your Honor, the prosecution calls Kai Maurer to the stand.
Mr. Maurer, please approach the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated, state your name, and spell your last name for the record.
Kai Maurer, M-A-U-E-R.
Thank you. Counsel, the witness is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Maurer, do you know the defendant?
Yes.
And is he in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
Could you identify him, please?
He's sitting at the far end of the defense table wearing a black suit with a white shirt.
Thank you. May the record reflect that the witness has properly identified the defendant.
Yes.
How do you know the defendant?
Well, I met him in his freshman year while he was a resident at the Hayes dormitory where I was an RA on his floor.
Have you seen the defendant at all this year?
Yes, I have.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
The last time I spoke with him was on Thursday, April 28th.
What happened?
Well, Ryan came to my office and started asking me about the SJC and the school's honor code and what would happen to a first-time offender of plagiarism.
What would happen to a first-time offender of plagiarism?
For a first-time offender, you would fail the class and you could possibly be expelled from Wheeler University.
How did he react to your information?
He seemed nervous and fidgety, like something was wrong.
Did he say anything that concerned you?
Well, after asking him if someone was going to accuse him of cheating, he said, "Believe me,
Move to
no one
strike,
is
Your Honor.
going to come forward."
Motion to strike this from the record. It's a hearsay comment.
So your objection is hearsay?
Your Honor, may I be heard?
Yes.
This is an admission by a party opponent. It's an exception to the hearsay rule.
And what's your response to that? Your response is it is, or you think it's not, or is it prejudicial? What's your response?
It's an out-of-court statement, but the admission by party opponent is.
Okay. It'll be overruled. Or actually, it's not stricken. In other words, he already did test her, so go ahead.
So continue. When was the next time you saw the defendant?
The next time I saw the defendant was on April 29th at the Woolly Wizard Music Festival.
What was he wearing?
He was wearing a bright blue shirt and khaki shorts.
Mr. Mauer, where were you when you saw the defendant the night of the festival?
The night of the festival, when I saw the defendant, I was standing in line for food at the food vendor.
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness with a pen.
Granted.
Could you please put your initials at where you were standing the night of the, when you saw the defendant?
Here.
Could you please put an X where the defendant was standing?
He was entering the North Road, walking.
What time was that?
It was 9:50.
And in which direction was the defendant walking?
He was walking to the west or towards the campgrounds.
Could you please put an arrow in the direction in which he was walking? And how was the defendant walking?
He was walking very quickly.
Your Honor, may the witness be seated?
Yeah.
Mr. Mauer, what did you do on April 30th?
On April 30th, I heard that Becca Abels had been murdered.
So what did you do?
Well, I went to the police department and told them everything I knew about Ryan and Becca after hearing he had been arrested.
Why did you go to the police station and talk with the detective?
Well, I wasn't sure if Ryan had done anything, but his recent behavior had been strange.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions at this time.
Any cross-examination, please?
Devin, isn't it true that you greatly disliked Ryan?
Your Honor, this witness' name is Kyle Mauer. Excuse me.
Okay, this
I'm
is
sorry.
Okay, start again.
Oh, that's gonna change this, Your Honor. Kai, you said you were not contacted first by Detective Shepard?
Oh, no, it was not.
So you had to make an outward effort to contact him?
I never contacted.
Or to contact a representative from the police?
Well, I went to the police department and told them what
Okay.
I heard.
And would you describe Ryan as outgoing,
Yeah, he was outgoing.
hardworking?
Yeah.
Smart?
Yes.
Alright. And how would you describe AG?
Well, he seemed like he was always partied out. and-
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance?
Let's,
Uh,
explain.
As to how he would describe AG. Ryan Bushell is on trial for murder here, not AG Prout.
And your response?
I'll withdraw it.
Okay. You withdraw it.
That's all.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor. I asked that this witness may be excused.
Okay. You're excused, Mr. Mount. Any further prosecution witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution calls Devin Lynn to the stand.
Miss Lynn, please approach the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated, say your name, and spell your last name for the record.
Devin Lynn, L-I-N.
Thank you. Your Honor, counsel, excuse me, the witness is yours.
Thank you, Bailey. Miss Lynn, did you know Becca Abels?
Yes.
How did you know her?
Well, we became friends my junior year when we both lived in Hayes dormitory.
Do you know the defendant, Ryan Bushell?
Yes, I do.
Are you familiar with Becca and Ryan's relationship?
Yes.
What is the nature of their relationship?
Well, I know that they've been friends since they were kids.
Now, let me take you back to last year. Where were you on April 29th?
I was at the Woolly Wizard Music Festival.
Who were you with?
I was with Becca, Ryan, and A.G. Crown.
Were Becca and Ryan getting along at the time of the music festival?
No.
Why not?
Well, they had both
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm sorry. This is a character, this statement is to character witness to comment on someone else's.
Okay. The question wasn't what to describe anyone's character, although there have been some questions kind of like that. Isn't it a question? Is there any other objection?
Personal knowledge.
No, it seems to be going from personal knowledge, so that's overruled. Okay.
Why were Becca and Ryan not getting along at the time of the music festival?
Well, they had both entered the same academic competition, but Becca was not aware that Ryan had entered, so she was upset and was going to turn him into plagiarism, and Ryan was angry about that.
Did you see Ryan and Becca interact at the Woolly Wizard Music Festival?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
Well, Ryan approached Becca to try and talk to her, and Becca tried to walk away, but Ryan kept pursuing her and tried to talk to her.
Did Becca seem responsive to Ryan?
No, she tried to walk away.
What happened after the incident?
Becca said she needed some time to herself and that she'd text me later.
Did she text you later?
Counsel, wait.
Excuse me.
You're asking a lot of questions that seem to call for almost just a narrative response, like what happened next. Those are objectionable, so I warn you to not do that as much, but you can answer the question that was just asked.
Yes. Did she text you later?
No, she did not.
When was the next time you saw her?
When she didn't text me, I went to go look for her and I found her body dead.
And what did you do when you found her body?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for a narrative.
Well, you put a few ago that did call for a narrative, but what did you do when you found her body isn't one of those questions, so overruled. You can answer that.
I called 911.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions at this time.
Anything in defense for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Isn't it true that you greatly dislike Ryan?
Well, I thought Ryan was a bad influence.
How would you describe Ryan?
Well, he wasn't very dedicated to working hard. He was kind of a loser, but
Would you say that he was selfish or lazy?
yes.
Could you please give me a specific instance of a time when he was selfish or lazy?
Well, he would always drink and he would sometimes do drugs at parties, so I never really liked that.
So, isn't it true that you saw him popping pills at a party?
Yes.
And how do you know that these pills were drugs and not medication?
Well, I assume based on the atmosphere of the party and the way in which they were popping the pills that they were drugs, not
But to
Advil.
clarify, you do not know for 100% sure that these were drugs.
I'm not 100% sure.
That will be all.
Anything further for this?
May I redirect, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Do you think Ryan was a bad influence on Becca?
Yes.
Did you approve of his drug use?